peaches, 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 peaches. Hey guys, it's Quana back again with another review. Hope you guys are doing awesome. All right, so I'm going to go right into this because I had an opportunity to take my kids to the theater to see Super Mario Brothers, the movie. This was the most epic mommy movie night because I got to go with just the kids and we got to do some family bonding time. Was letting my husband rest from our vacation. And we had such a fun time at the movies. I let them gorge out on popcorn. And just a little heads up, my boys both gave it A+++++. They told me to tell you guys that. And my little girl, she said it was a solid A. She did have some criticisms of it, but she still enjoyed the movie. And, you know, first and foremost, this movie is a family movie. Now, I don't feel like I need to get too much into the backstory because most people are familiar with the Super Mario Brothers, but basically, if I were to give this film a quick synopsis, this tells the story of the Super Mario Brothers, or Mario and Luigi, who are two plumbers who make their way into like the mushroom world, and with the help of Princess Peach, Mario has to go on a journey to defeat Bowser, stop his reign of destruction, and ultimately gain the respect of his hometown and his community. This film is done by Illumination, and the script was written by Matthew Fogel, who you might remember his name because he's been attached to such projects as the Lego Movie 2 and also Minions: The Rise of Gru, just to name a few. And I really thought that he did a good job of tackling bringing the Super Mario Brothers to life in a script that was manageable and accessible for old fans like me who grew up with the original game, but also young fans like my kids who maybe don't know the original game but have been introduced to Mario Brothers through Super Smash Bros. And through Mario Kart. Maybe don't get into all the games yet. And so this film was a great time. I have seen a lot of reviews, and of course, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes right now, the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Love a party? I'm like, I want to be in here too. Everybody, move over.
If you go on Rotten Tomatoes right now, you will see the score for this movie is 57%, which basically is not a tomato. It is a big splat. But the audience metrics for this are 96%. And I really wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about what I have been feeling is wrong with the current state of criticism in film, television, and in music, because I've been seeing it a lot in music as well. And as someone who both is an educator and teaches English, and my whole purpose in teaching English, aside from teaching students how to write, is how to deconstruct and analyze literature. But also through my film class, we deconstruct and analyze film, and we talk about the things about the film experience that make it enjoyable for us, that we like, that we dislike. And I think that what we're seeing now is a shifting in the critic space, where critics are feeling the need to critique film in a very disingenuous sort of way. And what I mean by that is, if I were to, first example, say, how does Super Mario Brothers hold up against, I don't know, let's go with The Shawshank Redemption. Two different genres, two different mediums, a completely different demographic in terms of the audience, and what those films are doing, even from like a literary perspective, is completely different, right? That would be a very disingenuous sort of task. And so if I was critiquing it based on those metrics alone, that wouldn't be good. It would be dishonest of me. But if I were to say, okay, how does Super Mario Brothers hold up against, one, other animated films, two, other animated films based on video games? Well, now we're getting somewhere. Now I can say, based on other films in this genre, I would give it this score. Based on my own personal experience, I would give it this score. And there's something to say, there's something I think of value or discussion to be had about giving a movie a critique or a criticism based off of your own enjoyment, but also based off of just film in general, film knowledge in general, and not conflating the two, because I can see a film and the film be great, but I don't care for that genre, or I don't care for that artist. I don't care for that person making it. Maybe I don't even care for the writer from talking about a book. And there are certain films, there's certain times you'll see me say that very rarely do I come on here and just give a bad faith review of something. There are a couple of occasions where I've come on here and I have given very harsh criticism, or, you know me, I always grade on the curve, right? So mildly harsh criticism, because I am passionate about that genre, or I am passionate about that film project. A couple of examples is I was relatively hard on coming to America, because I was a huge fan of Coming to America, the original. I'm a big fan of Eddie Murphy. I know what Eddie Murphy can do from a dramatic perspective. He's been in some great films. He's given some great performances. His performance in Dreamgirls, stellar. And so when I think about what he brings to the table, and I think about the cultural nuances and really the foundational text of Coming to America, what it means to like the Black community, then I'm looking at Coming to America, the sequel, and I'm like, this doesn't hold up. This slightly degrades what we got before, and now I can critique it. Another example was Persuasion. I'm a big fan of period pieces, and so I can critique Persuasion and say, I get what they were trying to do. We're in this new modern age of colorblind casting, and they were trying to do that, but I don't think that it worked for this film. Aside from that, even if that was to be the case, they really didn't do a good enough job of setting up the chemistry between the characters, and it didn't feel like the characters were with the persons they were supposed to be with, and they diluted the main character, and she was not relatable, and therefore I didn't love that movie. There's a way to go about doing this. And some of the bad faith critiques I've seen about this movie, like first and foremost, that there's no plot. I've seen even fans of the movie say there's no plot. This makes me feel like I am not doing my job as an educator, because first and foremost, we don't understand the differences between plot and story. Plot is just the sequence of events that happens within a story. If we're talking about story from the filmmaking perspective, you might have heard it. I know I've heard it taught this way. It's like somebody wanted to do X, but this happened, so they did what, right? In this movie, it's somebody, Mario, wants to be respected as a plumber, and really to be a hero for his family, right? And the only person who believes in him is his brother and his mom. So he starts his own business. He tries to save the city, but he gets sucked into a multiversal pipe that takes him into Mushroom Land and separates him from his brother, who he now must save. So he joins up with Princess Peach to go on the adventure to save his brother. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a plot to me. Now, is it a normal plot? No, but it is a flippin' fantasy film. Like, it's a film based on a video game, but it is literally the definition of fantasy. There's talking turtles. There's toadstools. There's a star that is, telling people that is like depressed and maudlin. Like, it's a fantasy film. Like, get over it. Like, there is a plot here. Now, are there moments of the plot that could have been tightened up? Yes, but they were trying to introduce basically 6 key characters in the franchise, because there are more characters to come. They got to go ahead and get these 6 out of the way, and so we meet the main characters. And really a lot of it is based around the early days of the Mario franchise. So we meet Donkey Kong, we meet Bowser, we meet Peach, we meet Toad, we meet Mario, and we meet Luigi. And those are the main 6 characters that we got to get to know in this film, so that if there is a sequel and a franchise down the line, we will meet all of the other characters as well, right? So that is one of the criticisms I've seen about this movie. Voice acting. Listen, Chris Pratt was phenomenal in the Lego movie as the voice of the main character in the Lego movie. He was phenomenal. He did a very competent job as Mario. Could other people have voiced Mario? Yes. But I'm going to be honest with you. As I'm sitting here thinking about people who could have voiced Mario, there's only a handful of white male stars that are young enough and engaging enough that I think could have done the job and bring a certain amount of respect from the fan base with them along for the ride. Anya Taylor-Joy was phenomenal as Peach. Jack Black stole the show as Bowser. He stole the show. Jack Black did what needed to be done and stole the show. And I'm going to have that freaking Peaches song stuck in my head from now until the end of the year. I want it to win an Oscar. Like, it's such a stupid song, and yet it is so infectious and good. And I want him to win an Oscar for it because and a Grammy. I want him to win a Grammy for that song. It was so good. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was great. And I also think, like, let's be for real. They couldn't cast a black voice actor as Donkey Kong. There's just problems with that, right? So they did a good job. Keegan Michael Key, he always pops up in these movies, and I'm like, that's Keegan Michael Key, but I forget he's doing such a good job with voice work that I actually was really his voice matched up toads perfectly, and especially coming off the heels of like Wendell and Wild, it was really good. Really good. Charlie Day was an utter surprise as Luigi. I didn't even realize it was Charlie Day until the credits rolled, and I was like, that is Daredevil. That is flipping Daredevil as Luigi, and I loved it. So I thought everyone did a really good job with the voice acting. One voice that pops up and they get like an additional voice credit towards the end, and there's tons of voice actors who worked in this, but Cree Summer, hearing her voice in this movie just made my little girl heart just pitter patter with delight, because I think the very first time I heard her voice that I can recall in a film was the Care Bears movie, and she did voice acting for Care Bears movie 2, A Next Generation, which was our New Generation, which is my favorite Care Bears movie. So, and she's done 50,000 voices, so anytime you see her, it's great. Your kids will likely adore this movie, and for those of us, especially those of us 80s babies, you will enjoy all of the Easter eggs that are in this movie. It's very nostalgic in the same way that the Lego movie was very nostalgic for playing with Legos if you were a Lego player. This gives you all of the nostalgia from like the first game to like the second and third game. There's Easter eggs for Mario Kart, for Donkey Kong. It's just so many nice choices that they did to add into the movie. I did not mind. I saw some people critiquing this decision, and it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I think it's alluded to in the trailer enough to where it's not that much of a spoiler. But Mario and Luigi are separated in this film, and then they come back together at the end. Some people didn't like that because there is a very nice dynamic between Mario and Luigi, but I actually liked it because it establishes the rules of the gameplay from the first couple of games, which is that Mario and Luigi are separated. They're not playing the game together. You either play as Mario or you play as Luigi, or that's it. They're never together as they're going through the gameplay. So that felt very reminiscent of the game for me, so it made a lot of sense. I will say this, as I finish with my rant about just where critics are going nowadays. Studios are in the business of making money, and so they will do their best to appeal to as broad an audience as possible in order to make money. However, we must remember that the directors, the writers, sometimes the actors, all those people are in this to make money, but a lot of times they're also in it because this is their passion, this is their artistic and creative outlet, and they want to tell the stories that make themselves happy and fulfilled. And I don't think that it's fair for audiences to always only expect for their needs to be met and not to understand that artistic outputs are very much about the artists themselves. You can tell from everything on the internet right now that this is like, Jack Black is so happy to be in this movie. He's been showing up to everything as Bowser, and I love that for him. I want to see that same level of energy from like at least 8/10 of the cast of the Barbie movie when they step out on the red carpet, because that is going to be like my Olympics for this year, is going to be the Barbie movie and the Little Mermaid, right? So I just think, see the movies you want to see. Yes, come to people like me and other critics online to kind of get a sense of what you're going to expect. And also, there are instances where movies just aren't well done and where there are flaws that need to be discussed because they help us to navigate around the viewing experience. But guys, just have fun at the movies. Go to movies and have fun. Like I said, there's a reason why, and it's not just the Nintendo fanboys, okay, or fangirls. It's a reason why this got a 96%, and that's because people who were taking their families or wanting to go see a movie that wasn't focused on all of the issues of the real world wanted to go to the movie, wanted to escape, and they got that in this movie. An hour and 32 minutes of escape, and that's worth something. So that's my review of Super Mario Brothers. Let me know down below in the comments if you have already seen the movie and if you enjoyed it, and do you have Peaches on repeat? Peaches, 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 peaches. See you later, guys.